Welcome to BCC Virtual Racing and the fifth race in the Beaconsfield Cricket Club. The course tonight, the Watopia Hilly Route, and the race starts right now. There we are, just starting with Angus Stoneham right up at the front of the pack as usual. Let's have a quick check and make sure everything is working. Hopefully you can all hear me. So the race tonight, 18.9 kilometres long, 218 metres of climbing over 2 laps. This is going to be fast, very fast, probably one of the fastest races on the circuit. I expect the winners to take under 30 minutes. So these riders are going to be riding close to FTP for the entire duration of the event, which is going to make it difficult to say the least. And as you can see already, riders already beginning to string out quite quickly. Let's have a quick look through the field, see what's going on. There's Quebrada hoping to emulate some of his Colombian countrymen in this race, trying to keep up with Stoneham, but ahead of him O'Brien in Cat B. Let's move up to the front of the field, see who we've got. Can't be a Cat C rider on the front. It's possible, but unlikely. Krebs in first place, seen Krebs riding before. Stoneham sitting in the bunch, just a few riders back. Taff up there as well, as is O'Brien on screen now. Alexis Brown holding around 5 watts per kilo. This is the start of the KOM on this climb. It's about 5%, 900 metres. Riders will be needing to hold above FTP on this climb if they're to be successful. And the steepest section, they're going around the first corner now, steepest section on the second corner, about 300 metres or so. Just reaching 10% there. Doesn't take long, fastest climb, you'll see the times coming up on the Zwift KOM, it's the forward KOM on the left hand side. At the fastest times well under 2 minutes. And let's move back through the field, see who else we've got in Cat B. There's a Walker entering in Cat C, but entered Monday on Cat A. There's Collier racing from the States tonight, will be hoping to do well. Came last on Monday in Category B, but his parents, Mags and Chris, cheering him on from home. So hopefully with a bit of encouragement, he's going to make some effort tonight and ride up to his true potential of around 3.7 watts per kilo, so I hope he does well. The other Barry in the field, Pedley, Cat B as well, and Ware I've just spotted. Cat C holding on nicely. You can just see Walker, a couple of other teammates around. Nixon. And already, even on this KOM, it's stretching out. In fact, we'll have a quick look back up at the front just to see if the front riders have already gone over the top. They are getting pretty close to it. Quebrada at 37th place. That is the front of the pack round the corner. And here they are, just approaching the finish. Davis is up there. Now he is on, or virtually on, 4 watts per kilo. If he's not careful, he'll be getting promoted. And there are the times coming up on the left-hand side. Davis in 6th place at the moment. Let's just see what Stoneham and colleagues do as they come up the climb. O'Brien in 14th at the moment. But none of them fastest so far. 152. Stoneham's gone up here and 142 before, so a big difference there. But we'll need to save something for lap 2 of this race. Moving back now through the field. Brown, Quebrada's drifting back already. Now he is riding in Cat A, is technically a Cat B rider, but right at the very top, so he's in that difficult sort of junction between 2 categories, which always makes it awkward. You're great at the top of one category and not so good at the bottom of the other. There's Empson back to full racing weight now, but already off the pace it seems. Holding 3.7, 3.3 watts per kilo. I think needs to push on a bit if he's going to get a good position in this race. No sign of Lancia yet. He and Davis continuing to battle it out. Race after race. Collier and who was that? Walker. Collier Cat B, Walker Cat C. Let's have a look and see. There is Collier there, in fact. Nice hairstyle. I certainly don't remember that much hair when I last saw him. And Darren Wood in here as well. And in terms of equipment tonight, few riders there on Tron bikes. Probably the best one, as it, apart from this one climb and one other bump, it is a fairly flat course, so speed is important, and to be able to hold speed over the top and on the downhill is going to be critical. As Oliver White, didn't spot him in the entry list, doing quite nicely. 5 minutes 16 seconds, 2.9 kilometers into the race. Moving back through the field, Shannon sitting with Nixon. Now that does look interesting, but Darren Wood, no, it's not Darren Wood, I was going to say it's another D Wood. So Shannon at 2.9k. I saw some other BCC riders. Peter Jones, Marcus Stoneham, not up to the form he was on last year, and certainly he was the one that was battling it out with Collier race for race almost throughout the whole season last year, and it was, I think, Stoneham that managed to win the majority of those. And this, just for clarity, is Stoneham Senior. Stoneham Junior, I'm sure, if we get there, will be right up the front somewhere. And Zwift, as usual, is not letting me roll through the field, but 117 riders racing, about 24 from BCC. So I'll have to creep my way back through the field again. And on the downhill from the KOM, it is, as one might expect, or not expect, it's not downhill all the way, I should say. There is a short section, 400 meters long incline, which will make it a little bit difficult. Quite a few riders I haven't seen yet. Mayhew, Smith, Lance here. Let's see if we can find some of them. Shannon, 3.9 kilometers in. There's Nixon, 4.5. Ware, White, Collier, all around 4.6. Empson, Wood in this bunch, and Walker at 4.7. Taff just at the front of that field there, and looking back, just beginning to, I'm not sure whether they're trying for a break here. Well, if they were, it's not worked. So they just get consumed by the chasing pack. Pedley and O'Brien at 5.1. O'Brien again by himself. This is a common occurrence. Not quite sure how he ends up in this position all the time. But seems to do rather well nonetheless. But here he is taking advantage of that pack. Walker running at under power at the moment, but maybe saving himself. Taff in there too. And looking forward, I'm just going to check on my phone whether some of these riders have actually entered. There is Stoneham Junior, sitting comfortably for him, 204 to 20 watts, 2.6 watts per kilo. Interesting tactics. He has the capability and strength to lead this race right from the front and all the way through, averaging, and he would need to average around 5 watts per kilo to break away from this bunch and hold on to that. But he's more than capable of doing it, having secured a cup, or a medal if you prefer, in the last 11 races. That's almost unprecedented, certainly unprecedented in BCC terms. So he knows what he's doing, but a chance here to really show the old men how to do it properly. He is, of course, the junior rider in the field tonight. But this rider, anything but junior. He's on the wrong side of 50. Still struggling around 3.99 watts per kilo. Well, that's deliberate, of course. I think he's going to go over that, but pushing hard, having said that, and always does. Good racer, most experienced in the club, but over 325 races. Currently sitting in the front bunch. Let's have a look at them. Bunch of about 20 riders here. 7.2 kilometers in, and it is 9.2 kilometers a lap with a 500-meter lead in, only riding that section once, of course. And you can see on the profile of the course, the top right of the screen, they are now descending back to the start-finish area before going back up the forward KOM. So Davis at 3.7 watts per kilo is the lead BCC rider at the moment. Just rotating around in the pack. I'll creep slowly back and see who I could pick up. So Stoneham right up there, and then the next rider 25 seconds further back. Brown seems to be leading the Bees, which is very nice to see. I've not seen him up the front. In fact, Quebrada is there as well, I beg your pardon, but he has not managed to hold on to that front group of A's. So Quebrada and Brown in this next group, but certainly Brown still leading the Bees. And in the B race, further 20 seconds back from him is O'Brien. Has managed to pull away, so he was by himself, then got consumed, and there is the group chasing him. In fact, managed to pull away again, and in that group we have Wood, Walker, Taff, Empson, Pedley, Collier's in there as well. Nice to see. Riding well. That Californian sunshine must be doing him good. And then in group 3 now, I think it will be Ware sitting there with White just behind him. So White seems to be, as far as I can work out at this stage, the first BCC rider in Cat C. Let's see if we can find the chasing bunch, Nixon and Ware. Where is Shannon? Well, there's Stoneham. In fact, there is Shannon. And that, I think, must be some 40 seconds further back. So Shannon, Stoneham, yes, they are. Shannon, Stoneham are, in fact, about 41 seconds behind Ware, taking advantage, Shannon, of the aero power up going downhill. Not so sure it's so good going uphill. Maybe not the best place to use that, but when you need to, you need to. And he's certainly pushing hard though. Heartbeat up there, 3.2 watts per kilo. And looking at his numbers of recent, that's about as fast as he goes for an average ride, of course. But uphill, these riders will push higher than average watts. Peter Jones riding very nicely as well. And I think that will be... In fact, Stoneham's in here, I beg your pardon. There he is. So that is Stoneham on screen now, and ahead of him, just disappearing out of sight, see if we can get it back, is Shannon, just that group ahead, 7 seconds, Shannon and Nixon. And in this group, Stoneham, Jones, there is Jones. And we are now at 8.9 kilometres in. In fact, Darren Wood's in there as well. So back up to the front. Not sure where Lancey is. He entered. Maybe has another technical problem. Seemed to be fairly common with him. Maybe one bun too short to compete tonight. So here we have the front of the field. Someone called Sim right up at the front. In fact, looks to be pushing quite hard here. He's tried a bit of a break. I don't think that chasing pack are going to let him go. In fact, indeed, the riders behind up to 9 watts per kilo. Stoneham's now 4 seconds further down in the field. There he is. I don't think he'll be overly worried. 300 metres to the summit. Davis is a further second back, so Davis and Stoneham have swapped places now. Stoneham at 63 kilos, I think, should be a good climber and usually proves pretty capable on the climbs. Davis, a little bit heavier, a little bit older. And there they are going through the banner now. And let's have a look at the times as they cross through. So O'Brien still in 14th place, Davis still in 6th. Any improvement on that? Let's have a look. Nothing's happened yet to change the order. Not really, not significantly in BCC terms. Still seems to be the same. And there is Davis. In fact, Davis looks as if he is now. Yes, he is struggling. Well, struggling in the sense that he's down to 2.2 watts per kilo. So he's gone pop by the looks of it, pushing up that hill. Drifting further and further away from Stoneham. Power's still there. He's bringing it back up now. I think what he was doing, he has clearly gone pop on that climb a little bit. Now he has just dropped back to pick up these two riders, help them along. That is smart riding. But this young man is beginning to pull away. 7 seconds further ahead. And how far away is he from the very front? In fact, he is in the front group now. There is no separation, so that break from Sim has not held. 12.1 kilometers, 168 meters of climbing, a total of 218 to go, 17 minutes into this race, holding around 42 kilometers per hour on that section. Let's have a look further back now and see what... So there we are, Davis. Just another quick look before we do go. So that gap up to the front is now enlarged to 11 seconds. He'll be sitting as comfortably as he can be with these other riders. Could do with a few more for support, but that's the challenge of Zwift racing. Lose a group, not likely to get back. And here's Brown, still going very well. He's pulling ahead of Quebrada and O'Brien. So now 10 seconds ahead of Quebrada. So Quebrada is drifting further and further back through the field. And if he's not careful, O'Brien, who's right there, is going to catch up with Quebrada, who is the next rider ahead on the course. Can't quite see him round the corner, but there is Brown. One more look. 3.6 watts per kilo. 12.5 kilometers in. The gap back to Quebrada is widening. And here's the challenge that he's got. No one in front, no one behind. That is a hard way to ride. No drafting advantage. No competition that he can see. But this rider, despite the fact he often ends up by himself in the yellow and black stripes or hoops, can see exactly who's ahead of him on screen. And he is closing that gap slowly but surely. And behind O'Brien, next BCC rider is, it's a surprise, Empson. Clearly back to race weight, was did tell me in an interview recently he was a little bit on the heavier side than he'd like to be, but that all seems to have gone now. So at the moment, he looks to be, if my memory is correct, in third place for it'd be fourth place, I think, for the category B. I forgot about Davis, who's still out front there somewhere. And of course that puts Brown in second. And sneaking up behind him, Taff and Collier there on a Tron bike, all on Tron bikes. And they've pulled away from Walker and Pedley, who are a further 7 seconds behind. In fact, that could be... No, that's not. I thought that might be Walker just sneaking up behind. But there's Collier on screen. 162 in the heart. Looking at his numbers, not quite his maximum average, but pretty close to it. So he's probably got a little more in him if he chooses to use it, but he's in a good group now. The challenge he has, of course, is where to go with this group. He could potentially catch Empson, who is ahead. That could be... No, that's not Empson ahead there. In fact, it might be, just disappearing off the end of the bridge. But behind him, Walker did well on Monday's race, riding at 3.1 watts per kilo. So I think the barrier for Cat C is 3.2 average, if I remember correctly. But sitting with him, Pedley, Wood, and further back in the field we have Ware at 13.9 kilometres, and they're beginning to string out the BCC riders. Here's White. So that was an early charge from him, has not been successful. He also finds himself in a very awkward position. One rider 8 seconds behind, another 19 seconds ahead. So either he goes flat out now to catch, but if you're going to make that move, you have to really go for it. The longer you're out there exerting yourself over FTP, the more difficult it gets. Best advice I can give is either go flat out to close that gap, or immediately drop back and join maybe this rider, Nixon, another rider that looks, I was going to say isolated, but there is a chasing pack that includes Shannon just gone flying past. So that group clearly working well together. Nixon seems to have latched onto the back, up to 5.6 watts per kilo there. That's exactly what he was doing. Saw them coming, made a good decision there to grab onto the back. And now I think, in case we miss it, which I sometimes do, onto the cobbles. We'll move up to the front, because the end of this race will be coming rather soon. And there is the front of the race. So Stoneham is the first BCC rider with about 1.5 kilometres to go. And is there anyone out the front? Let's have a look. No, it is Sim. Just moved back to second, third place. That's the rider that made the break early on, but couldn't hold it, or decided not to hold it. I suspect he was just trying the field to see what they were capable of. But he may not know that Stoneham's sitting there, and he may not know Stoneham at all. So he's the rider to watch. There's Davis, though. In fact, he's in an even more awkward position than he was last time. Lost the couple of riders he's been with, and the nearest riders behind him are some 24 seconds back. So let's have a look at Stoneham as they come into the final kilometre onto the flat. Just watch the riders now. Stoneham at 6.9 watts per kilo. He's moving through the field. He's getting ready for the sprint. The front riders are going for it. 15 watts per kilo out front. That's an unbelievable amount of power. Is Stoneham going there? Stoneham moves into first place. He's going for it. He's maybe gone a little bit too early. He's pushing hard. 15, 16 watts per kilo. Unbelievable performance from Stoneham, and he crosses the line first. What a great ride from him. And here's Davis showing us he's not quite as fast. I'll have to wait a while until he gets there. He is unbelievably another kilometre behind Stoneham. So was up there for the first 3/4 of the race with Stoneham and that fast group. But a couple of big efforts has taken it all out of him. He is now 1 kilometre back. In fact, he's cruising along at 1.4 watts per kilo. So I think he, and this is how he does it, as soon as his average goes above 4 watts per kilo, I'm sure he's calculating it live. He just eases off, cruises over the line, makes certain he brings that average back down. He will be watching the riders behind him at 16 seconds back, and they'll be closing fairly quickly now at 15 seconds, but he will see the finish line unless he gets a puncture just here. Don't laugh, it does happen on Zwift. And you can't just get off and run with your bike. He's going to cross the line next. So a good result from Davis, first in the Bs for BCC as far as I can tell. Next up we will have Brown, a great ride from him, just under 900 metres to go. He has managed to pull ahead of any other BCC rider. O'Brien with some more riders again. And K. Brada's there with them as well. But let's have a look at Brown. Just checking. See who I can see left on course. Not many riders left on course. But here we go. What's Brown got in him? 8.3 watts per kilo. And he crosses the line. Here comes O'Brien. And K. Brada will fancy himself as a sprinter here. So let's watch him from the two riders you're looking at here. K. Brada at the back of this line, O'Brien just in front of him. And O'Brien moves into the lead, I think. No, it's K. Brada, sorry, that moves into the lead. Is beginning to pull away from O'Brien. Sees the finish. Is he going to go now? Is he thinking about it? I wouldn't wait too long. O'Brien's got a bit of a kick to him. But he's not making much of an effort either. Oh dear. And then 15 seconds further back, if I can get there before the screen changes. I can't. It was Empson coming up. I might just get there. I don't think we're going to. Empson has clearly crossed the line already. In fact, here comes, right at the front of this bunch, maybe in 4th or 5th place, I'm not quite sure, but Collier all by himself. Unbelievable. 27 minutes, 25 seconds approximately. Great ride from Collier. There's Pedley crossing the line now, followed by Walker and Wood. And I'll have to go back to the start again. That's me sitting there in the line waiting. Unfortunately, this is the way Zwift works, but let's see if I can. There's Jones. See if I can capture Shannon. Nixon, where is he? There's Shannon. Ware is ahead of him at 18.4k, just winding down. He's stopped, so I've missed. Shannon will be crossing the line as we speak, I think. No, in fact, he's about a kilometre further back, but White is still ahead of him. There is White now, 17.9 kilometres, 28:16, 17, still going to make it under 30 minutes, which was the prediction, I think, from the start. Is Shannon going to make a bit of a kick here? He's got a group with him. It's not impossible, but they'd all really need to be going for it and working together. Shannon is putting a bit of effort down there. He's got another power up available to him. He can see White ahead. In fact, he's not going to catch White, but there's Nixon now coming up to the finish. No one in BCC to race, but he'll cross the line right now. And then further back we have Marcus Stoneham at 17.4 kilometres. Not on the form he was on last year. And there is a D Wood behind him, but maybe a Darren Wood. It's not our Darren Wood though. He's in Cat D. and I'll have a quick look, see who's behind Stoneham. We've got Jones, and I think that might be the only 2 BCC riders left on course. So a number entered but didn't ride, which is not uncommon. So we'll have a look at Stoneham cross the line. Well, he's making a go for it himself. He's got a bit of a push available when he needs it for a sprint. And even though there's no one around him, he's giving it some nonetheless, all the way to the line, not quite, sitting back down. He's done at 1.2 watts per kilo. And the final rider on screen for tonight is Jones. And while he comes up to the finish line, the next race is on Monday evening. It'll be the Glasgow Green Cycle Club crit race. And the next Beaconsfield Crit Club race will, of course, be same time Thursday next week. So thank you all for watching. See you all on Monday.